The group enters a massive room filled with pews and dominated by a massive and highly ornamented sandstone sarcophagus, which seems to have been dug from the ground itself. At the other end of the room, next to the sarcophagus, they see two figures seemingly trying to decipher some of the hieroglyphs on the sides of the burial monument. As Sariel and her allies enter the room, she recognizes Imelec, the astrologer, and beside him is someone who looks like another man-at-arms, minus the helmet. The duo is startled at their presence, and after turning to each other, they run on the other side of the sarcophagus. However, Sariel recognizes the other man just as he turns his head before making a run for it. It's none other than Dario.
"You vile turncloak!"
screams one of the men-at-arms beside her. Sariel is frozen in shock.
So Dario's involved in these murders, and now he's gunning for the sword.
Dario and Imelec make it to a door behind the sarcophagus and disappear out of view. Sariel and the men-at-arms start running after the conniving duo, but Marcus tries to stop them. "Wait, I think we could learn something from deciphering this. I see directions written over these doors." Basically, Marcus makes an appeal for them to take a little break instead of chasing right away, so we could learn a bit more about this dungeon and maybe get a path to where the sword is. So maybe we can go a little bit earlier than those two. So I think it's gonna be a 50-50. My odds are more than 50-50 because it's a chaos of 7, but I'm not giving it better odds because, well, they're in a chase, so it's tempting to just go on ahead. $80 plus 10, 90. It's a plain no. Sariel orders one of the men-at-arms to stay with Marcus while he deciphers the writings, while she and the other one go on ahead.
Just try to meet us afterward. We'll keep every door open on our way so you know where we are. And if it's too dangerous, just retreat here.
As the two disappear behind the sarcophagus, Marcus quickly goes around the monument to get a grasp on the story it tells. There are multiple pictures, kind of like in an Egyptian tomb, where there's the little people telling a story with images. You see a man with a long beard leading armies. Then you see him with a woman that looks like a sorceress on account of her dark appearance and different markings she has. He seems to kill the sorceress with a black blade. And then he is depicted being worshipped by people. You see him brandishing the black blade above his head while being worshipped. Afterward, you see him standing over a temple surrounded by an elephant, like he was trampling on the temple. So you have the temple, elephant atop the temple, and then the guy. Finally, he is depicted in a throne, pointing in front of him with his sword, and storms seem to emanate from him and the sword. There is an inscription after the images. It's written in multiple languages, so Marcus doesn't have too many issues deciphering it.
Behold the forever empty tomb of Azathoth, King of Kings, Son of the Gods, Master of Storms, he who triumphed over the Stormcaller. Tremble at his might, and prostrate yourself before your master.
So now I have two rolls. I will roll a d6 plus 2 to know how many doors there are. I will be counting the two doors we already know about within those doors. And then I will have Marcus roll to see if he can decipher their directions. There's only another door. So a total of 3 doors. So 7 plus 1, 8 plus 2, 10. Just shy. Well, maybe that'll be a partial translation then. Oh, and let's see where that door is. 1. Okay, so it's up. Marcus can only decipher part of the words. The door behind the sarcophagus features the word king, while the door at the other side has the word way. So now I will assume that Sariel and the man-at-arm have, you know, a few rooms in advance, and Marcus and the other guy are gonna try to catch up to them. But the other ones may need to be bogged down in 1 or 2 fights before they can catch up. Now let's go back to a dungeon sequence as we go back to Sariel. So first of all, I will roll a 1d4 plus 1 to determine how many rooms there are before the final room. So that's a 3, so 4. So now we're back with Sariel and the man-at-arm, and we will make them roll to discover the next room. So we get a 20, which is a workroom. Then we don't have an encounter. There is no treasure. There are no hazards. And no feature. Sariel and the man-at-arms arrive at an obviously unfinished room. There are stone carving tools and piles of ceramics littering the floor. I will roll for 1d4 doors, and then I'll see if they could see where the duo went. So 3 more doors. Let's see where they are. So 1 at 5, 1 at 3, and 1 at 8. So I will discard the 1 at 8. And the 1 at 3 I'll just place it right in front because I think it would make more sense. Now, can they see where Dario and Imelec went? I think it's enough 50-50. So 0 and 5. Oh, exceptional, yes. Sariel sees the duo dashing through the door at the other end of the room. And as they enter behind them, they find themselves in a long hallway going up at an angle. So it's just this very long and narrow hallway, and they can see the duo like further ahead. But are there monsters in this hallway? That is a 7, and then for treasure there's none, and there will be a threat, and no feature. So 7 is just shy of having an encounter, but the hazard, oh the hazard. Hopefully nothing too deadly, because it would be a silly way to end our adventure. 6. It's nothing much. It's a trapped container. So if there is a treasure, I would have had to roll to not take the damage, but one cares about treasure right now. We're all dashing right past the threat. Sariel attempts to catch up to the duo by increasing her pace to a sprint. So let's do a 3-way contest. Sariel versus Imelec versus Dario. I will be using this set of die for Sariel, the green ones for Dario, and these 2 more purplish pink ones for Imelec. Oops. Oh, that is not a great performance by Sariel. So she is at 7, while Dario is at 9, and Imelec is at 14. Sariel does not manage to catch up to them. The 2 men increase the pace as well, while Sariel, still feeling the pain of the wounds she suffered earlier, is unable to go much faster for long. Imelec ends up crossing the door first, followed by Dario. Thus, they manage to increase the gap between them and the ones chasing after them. We have a couple more rooms. I am surprised we haven't had a new encounter yet, but it's more help for me for the final boss. Oh, okay, so no encounters. There is probably some treasure. Yes, hidden treasure. Okay. There is no hazard. And we have a feature. Also, this is supposed to be a kitchen. No, that doesn't make sense. I will determine what it is according to the feature. So we have a tree, an unusual piece of movable furnishing, okay. And 16, religious and iconography or purpose. It is a peculiar room. It is fairly large and it seems to act as a kind of cistern. There are 3 levels to this room. You enter on the mid-height level, then you must go down some stairs to go into a shallow pool of water, but on the other side are more stairs that lead higher up than the 2 other levels. There's also a statue of an ugly and cruel looking woman that can be lowered from the mid-level to the bottom level using a chain and pulley system affixed to the wall. Sariel gets the impression that this was used for ritualistic purposes. And I named this the Rebirth Room. So you must go down and then go up. There's nothing else in the room, so it's simple. They just cross over and we'll see what's in the next room. Though since at this point we're almost at the boss room, and I already have something in mind for the boss room, I will say that the next room is the audience hall antechamber. Let's see if there is an encounter. No encounter, no treasure, no hazard, as far as I know. But there is a feature. A 7 and an 11. A piece of artwork, and I have to roll if it's original or stolen. Let's just determine what it is and not bother if it's stolen or not, since we will not be picking it up. Sariel and her armored ally arrive in a smaller room. This one is nicely decorated and lined with crumbling chairs. They also see sand scattered across the floor. In the room is a large golden bust of a man with a large beard looking regal and commanding. The antechamber opens up on a large audience hall with 2 sets of 6 pillars lining the walls and a throne at the end. There are windows all along the hall, but they are blocked with sand. More sand is visible in the hall itself. The only source of light are the oil lamps that are in front of each pillar. They are lit with ghostly pale green flames and have been the ubiquitous source of light in the rest of the tomb since Sariel set foot in the building. There is some kind of figure huddled in the throne, but it looks inert from here.